Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah An-Nahl, at the first part of the ayah, Allah says, Inna Allah ya'muru bil adl. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ordering you to do justice. But what does this concept of justice actually mean? This is what Shaykh Saadi points out. It's quite amazing. When we talk about justice, who are we doing justice to? So he points out you have to do justice for all your interactions between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and creation. In other words, everything around you. That creation includes humans, that includes animals, that includes the environment, every single thing, subhanAllah. And what is justice? It's to give the full rights to the party that it is due to. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a right over you, not to do shirk. So you have to give that full right. Creation have a right over you, depending on the level of their connection to you. So for example, your wife has a right to be clothed, to be fed, to be kind to, etc., etc., and so on. And these rights revolve around two basic things: your body and your wealth, or a combination of the two. So for example, with our body, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala orders us to do wudu, to be in a state of purity when you're praying. So that's a right of His, and so you have to do wudu properly. Then you are doing justice to the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala orders us to give zakat, and we have to give the zakat fully, not try and shortchange it or find some sneaky ways around it. And likewise, it's a combination of body and wealth. Is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends us to Hajj, we have to take our body there and we have to spend money. That's a right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So justice is when we fulfill that right. Likewise with creation, we may have to physically help somebody. We may have a parent who is weak or sick. It is their right for us to look after them. That's their right. We have to physically help them. Or when you're buying and selling, there's a right. You have to give the person, if you say I'm going to give so many kilograms of something, you have to give them, and the description of the goods has to be right. So this is justice. And who has to do this justice, and to whom? Again, we've already talked about this, but every level, every human being has somebody under him that they are responsible for. So the who, every person is responsible, and to whom, to every person they're responsible for. So it might be the highest level of responsibility, i.e. the leader of a nation, or the lowest level of responsibility. It might be just a small team of brothers and sisters. The older sibling will be responsible for the younger siblings, a father to a family, a mother to her children and to her husband, a team, in place of employment, and so on. So the concept of justice is just encompassing everything. And what degree of justice do we have to do? How much justice do we have to give? Can we get away with 90%, 70%, 50%? In Islam, it's 100%. You have to do your best, and then if you fail, you make a mistake, you recognize it, you ask for forgiveness, and you amend that problem. But your aim, your intention is 100%. And what is justice? What's the definition of justice? What is just? And everything that the Quran and Hadith, Qala Allah, Qala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, define as justice. This should be done, this should not be done. That's the definition of justice. And the fields are basically covering everything where there is an interaction between two parties. So for example, in human-human interactions or human creation interactions, it could be between A and B, maybe trade, maybe education, employment, covenants, and so on. And we are not allowed to cheat. So in other words, if you are selling milk, you're not allowed to add water to the milk. That would be unjust. You're not allowed to give less than, if the packet says 100 grams, you should give 100, not 99 or 99.8 or 99.5. You should do your best to give the 100 grams. You should not deceive people. Khida. Khida is when, for example, you take an auction and somebody is selling a product, maybe it's a car, but he's planted some people in the auction to push the price up. That is khida. Or you should not harm them. You don't do any dhulm. If you are doing all of this, then this is the justice that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking for. Inna Allah ya'muru bil adl. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from the just.